Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by my playing partner, Mr. Andrew Hansen, and we are here to talk about this week's PGA event, the Byron Nelson Classic. But we have a big twist with this tournament this week, Andrew.
It's at a course that has never been played on the PGA Tour. Down in
Bingo.
your neck of the woods.
It is. It really is. I wish I could say that I have course knowledge here, but I do not. It is a private club and have not been invited to bring the sticks out there just yet.
Well, there are a lot of courses in that area, Coach. We can't count on you to have played all of them.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a different event that a lot more unknown without question without question. But let me go over a couple of the basics and we'll dive right into this sucker. It's at the TPC Craig Ranch. It is a beautiful course from what I'm told in McKinney, which is about 30 minutes from me, just on the other side of Dallas. The interesting thing is they signed a 5-year contract, so they're going to host at least 5 years at this facility. And, it's the first time that the Byron Nelson Classic has been outside of Dallas County since 1944. So
good thing it's at least close by.
Yes, it is close by, but it is a completely new situation without question. But again, I've heard nothing but raves, read about stuff, talked to some folks around here that say it's really awesome. It was Tom Weiskopf was the designer. And it opened in 2004, so it's not like it's got a long history of, play. But I did uncover one gem, Andrew.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. In 2008, this course, only 4 years old, hosted a Corn Ferry event.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yes, I know that it hosted two Corn Ferry events, I believe.
Yes. I can't get anything by.
Well,
I can't get anything.
I mean, hey, we're a strong team. We think alike, and we come across the same tidbits here and there.
I was trying to get one up on you. I'm not even going to give you a quiz today. That's how much you just passed your quiz.
Oh,
you
excellent.
win again. But it was, there were a couple names I was able to pluck out of here that actually have played this course on that Corn Ferry Tour. It was hilarious though, going through the list of guys especially from 2004. It's, so many players that I remember from the past that are long gone from the PGA Tour.
Right.
But it's amazing how tough it is to keep your card. Those guys are amazing. But I'll get into those two guys here in a second, but let me tell you this. It's a par 72, 7,438 yards. It is very long. There's not much water, not a ton of trees. There's some trees on some holes, but it's really just a long, flat Texas course like you would expect. And, the main thing you need here in Texas, as we call it the Texas wedge, you're always looking to run balls up, hit them deep and let them run up. And you're going to see a lot of that, I think, this week. We just had a huge rainstorm here today, but it is supposed to clear up this week. And that's important because I'll tell you right now, if it was wet like this, if the tournament was tomorrow, they're not going to get any roll. And that is going to make that course play like 7,700 yards. It's
right.
You've got to get some runs. So here's the good news, Andrew. You've got Thursday and Friday, supposed to be very nice, mid-70s, almost no chance of rain. And then on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, it's supposed to get up to 80, but the wind will pick up a little bit. So 16 to 18 mile an hour winds this weekend, something to keep in mind. And there's a 30 to 50% chance of showers. So you're going to have the course play much differently on Thursday and Friday with no wind, sunny skies. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be a completely different game with the wind picking up and showers on and off. So keep that in mind as we go through not just this the tournament plays, but then when we go in on Friday with new lineups for the weekend only, that'll be something we'll keep uh, in consideration, and I'll certainly keep everybody posted on the weather. All right, before I go through a few of my guys, why don't you shine your wonderful wisdom on us with a little course knowledge, and as far as how it plays, which stats are important, and then we'll go over some odds, and then pluck out that small bit of course history with those guys that played in the Corn Ferry events.
Yeah, well, like you said, it is long. I mean, that is the key thing here. And there are six par fours over 450 yards. So that's a stat I looked at. Par four scoring from 450 to 500. And we'll see about the weather. I'm glad you mentioned that. We could get that wind, and if it is a little rain to lengthen the course, that'll be important. But assuming neutral conditions, we know we're going to have that length on those par fours. So if you look at the top 25 or so in that stat this year on the PGA Tour who are playing this week, I'm going to jump right into a sleeper, coach, a value play right off the bat. Are you
Of
ready for
course
this?
you are.
How about Fabian Gomez, number one on this stat, and he's the bare
Wow.
minimum price on DraftKings at 6,000.
Okay.
He's made five straight cuts. Three of those have been on the Corn Ferry Tour. Okay, but he's been playing well, making cuts. And the number that jumped out at me, okay, the par four scoring from 450 to 500 on average, he leads the tour, and his average is 4.00, right on par.
What?
And that
That's
shows you
nuts.
how tough these holes are. That nobody averages under par on these long holes.
I know. I can't believe that.
You
That's
know,
crazy.
you would have. I would have thought at least somebody would be under par, but
Right.
I mean, we're
I would
not.
have thought, maybe a dozen people,
Yeah, I mean,
That's wild.
but we're not talking about par fives here, where people birdie it left and right. We're
Yeah.
talking about real tough holes. You got to grind out the pars, mix in a birdie. So Gomez has been great in this
Hmm.
category. Uh, Next couple guys are a little bit more of the household name variety. How about Matt Fitzpatrick and Bryson? They're third and
Yeah.
fifth in that stat this year. Then James Hahn is a value play we've toyed around with lately. He has missed his last three cuts, so he's
Yeah.
not
Tell
on.
me about it.
Yeah, I know.
I had him last week.
And then a guy that I think we'll circle back to later in the show, Scotty Scheffler, number seven in this category, the local man. He's gonna be popular this week. Siwoo
Yeah.
Kim is next. He's made four cuts in a row, not too shabby. Sam Burns, recent winner at the Valspar.
Yeah.
And one thing you like about him is he's one of those longer hitters. He's
Yeah.
young, strong, and no surprise he does well in long par fours. Next guy is another value play. Nelson Ledesma,
Hmm.
6,300. He's sort of been playing like Gomez, back and forth between the Tour and the Corn Ferry. His success hasn't been as significant as Gomez, so I don't like him quite as much. Next, we have Brooks Koepka, first outing since the Masters, trying to
Yeah.
get back in the groove here before the PGA Championship next week.
Hopefully the knees a little bit better.
Exactly. And then another local guy, Ryan Palmer,
Yeah.
9,100. And then two more guys here. Scott Piercy is interesting. He's made 11 and 15 cuts this year, tied for 11th last week. I talked about him as one who is a little boomer bust. I haven't ever seemed to really get him right, but
Okay.
we had some exposure to him last week. He did well. And then Doug
Yeah.
Gim, he's made 13 of 18 cuts this year. Solid option, 7,500 mid tier. So those are guys who really wide range of pricing here, but they all do well on the long par fours.
That's great stuff, and some super value plays there too. I'm really, of course, partial to the Texas guys, but I will tell you this: that Thursday and Friday, this course is going to play like most courses do here in Dallas. It's going to play long, and it's flat, and it's dry, and it's going to be fast greens. It's going to be all the stuff that you're going to have little puffs of wind here and there Thursday and Friday, but nothing severe. I mean, it's going to be, not much water, some sand, but it's going to be grip it, rip it, and make some putts. That's, Texas golf. And then this weekend, you'll add that mix in with which you always get. You never get a full tournament here in Texas without wind some of the days. And so this weekend, it's going to be, if the Texas guys get through and that are used to really, playing in these conditions here. And, believe me, it's an advantage if you've been brought up here and played in the wind and in the flat surfaces and knowing how to bump and run stuff. I mean, it's a little unconventional, especially I noticed like the European guys and stuff. That's just, they're not used to that over there, except for, when they're playing the British Open or something where there's a lot of run up shots. But it's a little bit different style golf. But this weekend we'll go back, I think, to a little bit more of the norm. But getting to the cut, it's almost going to be like two different tournaments, because Saturday and Sunday with wind and a little bit of rain on and off, it's going to be a lot more, fire at the pins, bring shots in high, let them, the wind bring it back, as much different than the first couple days when it's going to be, the line drives, let it run out for 70 yards kind of thing. So keep that in mind when we're building. But I do have two names for you, Andrew.
Okay.
And these are two guys that have played this course. They were, in the Corn Ferry event, and both did pretty darn well. The first one you already mentioned, we've been on him anyway. Scott Piercy had a T31 here back in 2008. And, I love the way he's been playing in the cuts. So he's definitely in my player pool. And then here's one for you, a T7th last time that he played this course. And I think he's got a big shot this week, and he's going to get some of that 33-1 money of mine. And that's Mark Leishman. He fits this event. And if the winds kick up and it's a little wet on the weekend for him, I'm not concerned about that. He can get that done. So, those are the two guys I wanted to bring up right off the bat. Do you want to share any other Corn Ferry guys?
Well, not specifically Corn Ferry guys, but just some info about these Texans.
Texans? Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler, obviously a younger guy, so he didn't play in that event way back when, but he has played on this course in a juniors event. And,
Okay.
Even if some of these Texans hadn't played this course, I agree with you that they do get a benefit of knowing these types of courses and these types of conditions.
Right.
They have a huge edge over the guys that grew up in Florida or California. So
Yeah.
I would have liked Scheffler anyway, but a guy
Right.
like that who has those vivid memories on this course, you got to love that combination. And then, I mean, there's a key group here of guys that are around that area all the time. Will Zalatoris, we talked about him a lot on the last podcast, and how would his life events impact his performance, and he finally missed the cut. So maybe the distractions got the best of him. You were wise to stay away from him. I did dabble with some shares, so felt the pain of the missed cut with him, but maybe he bounces back, and that was a wake up call for him, and he realizes, all right, okay, I got to get refocused here. We've got the PGA Championship next week, and he's back in Texas, so I would think he would do better. Jordan Spieth, always a
Yep.
key guy. Didn't quite get it done at the Masters, but obviously got that recent win in Texas, so he's in consideration. A little more pricey, of course. Ryan Palmer, we mentioned, older guy who's played here a bunch. And then one more that we've already mentioned, but I didn't mention the local ties. Doug Gim, who went to
Yeah.
UT Austin,
Yeah.
7,500. So I like the benefit there. And then we can't forget Sung Kang, who won the Byron Nelson back in 2019. It was at a different course, but the funny
Yes.
thing is he's a member here at TPC Craig Ranch.
How about
So
that?
talk about a home course advantage.
Yes.
So that gets your attention. However, On the flip side, last week he was a mess at the Wells Fargo. 75, 79, missed the cut. So you'd really have to bank on him feeling the home course advantage to want to invest in him this week.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm so sad that the tournament moved, because I've gone to this event in Irving, which is just down the road for me at the Four Seasons course there, and it had been there 35 years. I've probably been at maybe six of them, I'd say, and great memories with my dad when he first retired and moved down here. We went and sat on the 18th for a couple different events. I had ties with Verizon at the time, and they were one of the big sponsors, and just great stuff. I'm really, really going to miss that. But I bring it up for this. That course is completely different than this course. Even though that course at Four Seasons is a Texas course, it's not built like most of the courses down here, which are long, flat, straight, not a ton of personality, just, long shots and, fast greens. But, that course was more tight. It was in Irving there, in between housing projects, and there were a lot of not housing projects, but you know what I'm saying,
Developments.
housing developments, and it's so there was more of a finesse part of it, shorter course, and this is really completely opposite. So I say that to don't fall victim to looking at any of the results from the previous Byron Nelsons, because I'm
Right.
telling you, they're not going to do you any good. They might as well been playing in Australia. I mean, it's just totally different course. So, I would do, really focus on the stuff we've brought up. The guys that have seen this course on the Corn Ferry Tour, the guys that are from this area that are used to these type of conditions. But I'll tell you this: I read through a few. I pulled up some old Dallas Morning News uh, articles when they played the Corn Ferry Tour here, and when they won the contract to get the 5-year agreement with the PGA to have this course. And what they did was, the owners there, who ended up right afterwards selling it to Club Corp, by the way. So the owners that built it cashed out, but before they did, they're, super wealthy, very connected people in the Dallas area, have a lot of connections, obviously, with the golf community and the pros. And from what I read in the morning news, I don't have specific names, but all the names that you mentioned for sure: Spieth, Palmer, Zalatoris, even, because this was only 3 years ago. All these guys were asked by the owner at the time to play the course, check it out, give the PGA the thumbs up, help them try to win that bid to get the tournament there. So I don't have, specific knowledge that these Texas Dallas guys all played there. Kevin Na as well as one of them. But I would almost guarantee you that these guys have played some rounds on this course a couple years back and have some knowledge there. So even more of an advantage for those guys. So you'll see my lineup this week, Andrew. It's going to be littered with a lot of Texans, the Corn Ferry guys, and guys that I know are long and can putt it. I mean, I think Bryson is a nice play this week. I mean, those insane par fours
Yep.
that are 490 yards or whatever they are, that's nothing for him. Driver, wedge, so
And we know
he,
he
yeah,
wants to be there because of what
right.
happened during the tournament last week. He flew home to Dallas, thought he was going to miss the cut. He was
Yep.
getting ready, he wanted to get ready for this event, and then all of a sudden he makes the cut. He has to fly back, and then he played better over the weekend. So
Crazy.
I like where he's trending for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely in play here. Rom should love this course too. I mean, you really can rip it. Guys like Scheffler and the Bombers are going to have a blast, because, you have some room for error, and that's really cool. And then, this is an important week. I mean, next week's the PGA, which, is a major. So this is an important sharpening weekend for these guys, and then they have the big tournament for the PGA, and then they're back at a course that I do know a lot about, and that's the Colonial. So we'll have some good inside info these next couple of weeks, and hopefully we really can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I actually got to play at Kiwa in the
Did
last.
you?
Yeah, so we'll have fun chatting about that next week.
Gorgeous, huh?
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Just paradise on earth, really.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That's what I've heard. I heard it's just, you almost can't golf because you're so in awe of the
yeah,
surroundings.
yeah, it is really awesome. So,
Fantastic. How about odds? Let's talk about those. Tell me if any of these guys float your boat for bets.
okay.
You've got Bryson's the favorite at 7.5 to 1. John Rahm 8 to 1. Jordan Spieth 11. Daniel Berger 18. Scotty Scheffler 18. Matt Fitzpatrick at 20. He's been on a roll. Your buddy Hideki 25. Brooks Koepka 25. Mr. Zalatoris, who I think probably settled down. He may be back in coach's pool this week. He's 25. Leishman, who's going to be on all my lineups, 28 to 1, and a few nickels on Mr. Leishman. Sam Burns, hot 30 to 1. Siwoo Kim 35. Here's a guy I bet you that gets some of your money. Ryan Palmer 35 to 1. It's a good number for a local guy.
Yeah.
Sergio 50. Charles Schwartzel 50. He's played good golf. Here's another guy. I guarantee you bet this guy. Jason Day 55 to 1.
In general, I like Jason Day at 55 to 1. Don't love the recent form. And, in general, none of those are bets that I really want to make, to be honest.
Wow.
Bryson, I like the idea of him, with a real strong weekend, shooting in the 60s,
Right.
and taking advantage of this length. Everybody's on similar footing, that they don't have 5 years of experience playing this event as a pro.
Right.
So maybe he can grip it and rip it and make some putts. But 7 to 1, 7.5 to 1, that's not very strong a return. So
No.
I don't really like any of those to win bets this week. Maybe
All right,
maybe some
I'm
top
gonna
20s.
give you some win bets right here. I know that 20 of Andrew Hansen's dollars are going to go on the following guys. That's my prediction here. I'm going to predict your wagers. Scott Piercy at 150 to 1.
I don't know
There's
about
one.
20.
There's $20. Yeah,
Burn the 20.
burn that 20. Couple weird ones. Tom Hoagie, 125 to 1. He's always knocking at the door. James Hahn, 125 to 1. Here's some good investments. How about Russell Knox at 90 to 1? Charles Howell III, a long hitter, 80 to 1. Gooch, 70 to 1. Doug Gim, 60 to 1. That's a nice play. And then I think that's it. I had you pegged for Jason Day as well, but we'll see. I'm gonna be looking for your bets. I'm thinking right now that I'm gonna put my money on Leishman for 28, and Scheffler at 18 isn't a bargain, but man, I think he could win this tournament. I really do.
What's Thomas Peters at?
Thomas Peters, let's see. Tomas Peters. He's way down here because I keep scanning and he's not anywhere I can find him at this moment. Let's see. Did I miss him? What tell me why you like Thomas Peters a little bit.
Well, I had a handful pulled out of guys under the radar who aren't Texans who we might want to mix into the lineup just in case. He's one of them.
I found him.
Yeah.
He's 80 to 1.
All right. So that's
right between Taylor Gooch and Lee Westwood.
That's a little more attractive to me. He's had a lot of top 20s lately. Yeah. Luke List is another guy who tied for 6th last week.
60 to 1.
Long hitter. So maybe he steps up this week. How about Camilo Villegas? His last 3 events, 17th, 25th, and 11th. This is a guy to get in the lineup to make a cut.
I don't like him since he doesn't lay on his face on the green to read the putts anymore.
Yeah, seriously, so lazy. Those rules, you'll get you.
The
And then,
knees will get you. He's 100 to 1, by the way.
okay. So, yeah, those are more like top 20 bets. I
Okay.
just don't like betting outright here on this course, first event. Um,
That's where you catch people sleeping,
you
man.
could,
This
yeah.
is yeah.
Yeah, so me, it's put a little on Bryson or focus on top 20s, and then here's two more value guys. John Catlin, who 7,200. He's been playing over in Europe. In April,
Okay.
he has a win and a fifth over there.
Hmm. Wow.
And our man Seamus Power, now that he's made three cuts in a row, coach, I think it's fair enough to mention him as a value play, not just the novelty that he can play lefty or righty, but three cuts in a row at a $7,000 price tag. I'll consider him.
Why not? I mean, they don't show up on the chart here, so they're probably with the field. But hey, that's a bet too. You can go for it. But this is going to be fun. I'm excited about it. Not going to have a chance to get out there. Maybe next year I'll try to get some tickets and get out there. But um, maybe heading to the Colonial on Thursday or Friday, 2 weeks after after the
Yep.
PGA. So that'll be fun. But yeah, this should be a good one this weekend. They're going to get it in weather-wise, no doubt. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the odds. A little as much we can give you as scratching through some of the course history and who's played the course. Remember a lot of these guys though, the Daniel Bergers of the world, I'm sure have never set foot on the grounds there. So, there's a lot of advantage. These guys are brilliant. Once they know, they never forget these guys, like, which way it breaks, where
Oh yeah.
the bad spots are. I mean, they're unbelievable how they can remember that stuff, and their caddies as well. So definitely an advantageous spot there considering.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, that is it. We have got the PGA in the books. We're recording this on a Tuesday, a little bit ahead of time, and we'll have that up for a couple of days. Wednesday night, if you want to join us at dfscoachtalk.com, you can jump in with as little as a 3-day pass for $10. And a lot of people sometimes will jump in on Thursday, so they get on Wednesday, so they get the Wednesday full PGA lineups for Fanduel and Yahoo, and the coach's clipboard for Draftkings. And then with that 3-day pass, they also get Thursday and Friday. And Friday night, we have the full PGA information and lineups again for the weekend only event. And with the shift in weather, it may be a whole different pool of players that we're putting out there for the second group. So we'd love to have you. I mean, everything is just heating up. We're less than a week away from the NBA playoffs. We're in the heart of the Major League Baseball season, and this is big time golf. We've got the PGA and some big events coming up. So we'd love to have you join us. If you want to check us out on Twitter, you can check us out at DFS Coach Talk. Andrew is at Language Olympic. I'm at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. And again, you can find all our information at dfscoachtalk.com. So that is it, Andrew. Any final words?
Let's play 72 this week, coach. All six guys through the cut.
Let's do it. That's it. That's the goal. Let's get everybody through that cut, and then we can start talking about some takedowns. So appreciate everybody checking it out. Enjoy the golf this week, and we'll be back again next week to crush it in PGA DFS.